to actually deliver a stream of Gone Kamuy, the 3rd season. That's if, and only if, YouTube actually ever kicks in, that is. As I always say every single stream at this point, it takes so goddamn long sometimes. And that was pretty instant, to be honest. That was pretty instant. I'll give him that one. That is actually, well, that is actually, we actually are good to go. So anyway, just reposition my camera so slightly, because I just realised I'm a bit far down. So yes, actually have a retouch of episode 3, or episode 31. Brain stopped second, I was like, wait a minute. No, it's 31 of Golden Kamuy. Season 3, episode 7, or the overall episode 31 of the entire series. As we know, oh shit, goddamn, 30 was, ooh, Ogata, my boy. What you doing, my lad? What you doing? Every single time I got defend you, I'm like, bruh. But see, the problem is with Ogata as well is the fact that he does have a heart. It's there. It's just, it's really kind of like buried. It's buried beneath everything else that's going on in his life. I'm just kind of like, just, Ogata, just open up a little bit. Just be a good boy sometimes. Because you can tell that him killing off his own brother wasn't like, oh shit, I killed my own brother, I'm just going to leave now. No, it's not that. You could tell it affected him a lot, because he wouldn't have constant visions of his own brother if it wasn't for the fact that it haunts him. So at least you can tell he actually has a conscience. That's the main thing. He's not a complete sociopath. He actually has a conscience. Actually, it's kind of nice to know. I was like, at least he actually doesn't really have emotion there. Doesn't show it too often, but it's there. But anyway, let's put on Twitter actually gone live. Right, put that there, put that there, let's put that there. Alright, we should be good to go. We certainly are. So as I always say, let's get this show on the road. Let's start this thing in 3, 2, 1. Let's start this thing absolutely now. But yeah, I mean, Ogata's an interesting character. He's probably more interesting now than he was beforehand, even though he was really interesting before. Now you can tell there's that bit of him that you don't actually see very often. It's actually kind of cool. Poor you. Poor you. My poor baby. Just position myself slightly better. When it snows, it goddamn snows when you think about it. Like, Jesus Christ. It snows. I will say the visual direction this season is actually a lot better than previous seasons, I must say. It's always had a nice style to it, but even more so now. Yeah, it's bad. So yeah, I mean, the thing that I always kind of imagine with Ogata is that he has a firm belief. That's the thing with him. He firmly believes that everyone's exactly the same as him. He believes that as soon as you enter that battlefield, you basically have to sully your hands with blood. There's no way in hell you can actually continue life of actually doing that one thing. It's almost as if it's almost as if it's a rite of passage. So he can't accept that someone wouldn't want to do it. He can't accept, like, well, shit, people don't actually want to kill people. What the hell's going on here? To that end, he's interesting because he almost wants everyone to actually just kind of be the same as him, like, but there's no way in hell that he can. But then he doesn't understand how to actually kind of, like, process that, especially from the idea of actually it's his own family member as well. He doesn't really know how to actually kind of process it, so instead, he literally just goes and kills him, because it's kind of like, well, how can you live if you can't do that one thing? So to that end, you kind of then, it's the kind of the other side of his character, like, the way that he just doesn't know how to kind of, I guess, process certain things. Though then again, the main thing with his character, that I always will say, and it's always the key to actually what makes characters good, is you actually have a reason to why they're the way they are. If Ogata was just evil and just kind of like, by the way, I'm an absolute ass, you'd be like, okay, alright. You wouldn't really care, would you? But because you actually understand why Ogata's the way he is, and what happened to him when he was younger, it begins to actually kind of make sense why he's the way he is. And that separates him from other characters. Is why I find him endlessly fascinating, because he has that depth to him. Because you understand what happened to him, his whole entire life, that led to him to be like that. That's the interesting point. It's exactly the same as every other character in the show as well. Every other character in the show has the exact same kind of like depth, if you get what I mean. It's the situations that shape the characters, is what I'm trying to say. A lot of the character development is very situational rather than like narratively driven. You can tell like the characters are being developed because of where they are, not because of the narrative is saying they have to be developed to that point. See, Tanagaki's just like the best as well. Man, I actually wish I could hug Sugimoto at that point. Looks like a cuddly bear. But also, I'm glad about as well is that it's not just the characters are a force to be reckoned with as well. It's actually like the actual places as well. The weather factors in quite a bit. And that's kind of neat, I must admit. It's not just, by the way, we got to fear like every single character in the show as well. No, you got to fear the weather, the harsh weather that actually comes over sometimes. Also, very incorrectly, like a massive event happens soon in this show as well now. Do you actually wonder how this facility's holding up though? The whole entire time, it's like, how's the facility doing? Kind of got shot in the mouth and just kind of passed out. So even the whole entire thing with the past is very situational as well. it's been so long since I've seen Toraji as well, to be honest. Oh shit, that was good. That was fucking good. Go on, Kamuy. That was fucking good. I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing there. I like it because it does in theory it does hint at the idea that they have sullied their hands with blood. They actually have taken that passage that Ogata technically actually has in theory done as well. But while others leave that battlefield completely changed and actually don't change off that point, some do regain their humanity, and I'm guessing that's the entire thing with Asidipa and also Sugimoto, is the idea that Asidipa is actually kind of bringing back the humanity that was once lost. But that's so adorable. It's kind of interesting they do in theory like bring in the idea of Asidipa's actual influence on Sugimoto, considering we had the episode beforehand with Ogata and Misaku as well. It's interesting because it's kind of in a way, because technically Misaku is passive to the entire thing, and also is a pacifist in that kind of way as well. Same thing much with Asidipa as well. So to that end, it's kind of very interesting to see how one interprets that idea versus the other. No, Ogata completely like just destroyed the whole entire idea and killed him. But you know what I mean. Ogata could have done it a different way, but he did it his own way. It's actually a real thing as well, isn't it? The idea of actually, if your hand's stuck to something, like there's some like chemical that actually can like unbind your hand or whatever from the actual object in the cold. If I remember. Ooh. Ooh. body language in the show as well. God, it's so good. God, this show spoils me. The things I actually love about cinema as well. You know when Sugimoto gets happy, just like explaining that whole entire thing, it just like it warms my heart. I don't know why. He's just the most beautiful boy alive. I just my heart. Oh man. I do actually love about we actually hear about legends as well. It's so interesting. He was thinking the exact same thing I was thinking. God damn it, Koito. I think we were thinking exactly the same thing. Well, he's not wrong on that front. He's not wrong there. He's very deceitful. Though he is most certainly my cat. He's my cat, man. But I was like, it has if a cat is like, is it Ogata? Because he's basically a cat at this point. Is that foreshadowing right there? Is that some foreshadowing right there? And there is the Catman himself. It's the man of the hour, as they say. It's the man of the hour. They're not wrong though, because technically he actually is very deceitful. Again, he knows how to manipulate people. Actually, kind of bend his way. Although I'm guessing the only person who didn't bend his way was Yusaku, and look what happened. Once again, highlighting a bit more about Ogata's character. I guess also you could interpret that Ogata technically is a monster because he killed Wilk. Oh. Oh. Sophia. Do we meet Sophia this week? The hints this week in this episode are really good as well. They are really good. I was like, oh, I know what you're doing there, Golden Kamuy. Woo! We do. We do. God, it's just like, wait a minute, is that me? Hello, hello, how's it going? It's just like, fine. Currently on Crunchyroll. And I also believe Funimation as well, if I remember correctly, in Hulu, I think. All three have them? I have no idea. They really are like drawing parallels between Ogata and the mountain cat, or the monster cat in this context, I guess. Because it does make sense. Like, it's not as if it's just like, by the way, he's a cat. Like, we always make the joke that he actually is the cat man, but technically speaking, he does in theory kind of correlate quite well to the whole entire legend because he deceives people. But that's the problem with him. That's the difference with him is that he kind of like, I guess not difference, but it literally is very much that he is a deceiving person and knows how to kind of bend people his way. Though not everyone doesn't really bend his way, don't get me wrong. That's the thing with his character. It's not as if, oh yeah, by the way, everyone's just like, yeah, Ogata's pretty cool. And everyone thinks Ogata's an asshole. Because he technically is, but he's a kind of... He's a kind of cool asshole. I like him because he is an asshole. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting though, because technically speaking, he's deceived a lot of people. And then to a degree, he's deceived so many people to the point that it hinders them as well, because the entire thing with actually how he manipulates people to actually think he's actually a part of the whole entire group. So everyone actually then lowers their defenses, and actually then he strikes. I'm guessing very much like how Mountain Cat would actually do. That's the thing. He's actually very good at it. Like, the whole entirety in season 2 kind of proved it. Because we were like, he said Hina. He said it. He's now a part of the group. And then boom, he does something evil. Like, God damn it. Bruh. So that's the thing. It's actually very well done. Because it actually is very much like, ooh. Ooh. It's her as well. They don't do that so often nowadays, if I remember correctly. They don't do that so often, if I remember. The whole entire idea of what's happening? I haven't watched the trailer yet, so I'm actually catching up to season 3 at the moment, so I haven't watched anything to do with season 4, because otherwise I'll spoil myself. That would be pointless. The episode's on Crunchyroll. I'm currently watching it. If it's not on Crunchyroll, it's on Funimation as well. Funimation also airs it, if I remember correctly. But, the show's interesting. The show's getting very, very fascinating as well, because, again, the entire thing is they're drawing parallels between certain characters with legends that appear in the show, and actually doing through it quite well. But that's not the only thing as well. It's the idea of actually the humanity that actually exists in the show, and actually how each character is experiencing that idea in their own way. The idea of how Sugimoto actually kind of is, by all accounts, kind of like a person who's killed probably a lot of people, but in war. But once he actually escaped that whole entire idea, and actually kind of was wandering, finding a purpose, he actually found that purpose with Asidipa herself. And you actually can really see, like, she almost allowed him to regain that humanity that he lost. Which is actually kind of cool, because in that way, it's one of those things that it kind of proves to us there's more to them than just, by the way, they're just kind of friends, because it's more or less like she's helping him regain what he's lost, because he's lost a lot. It's one of the things this show also kind of does very well. It kind of explains that these characters have lost a lot of things, and to actually kind of have a character actually to tell you that. Don't worry, we actually can in theory find that thing you've lost and regain it. Is actually kind of, it's nice. It kind of adds a lot more to the words correctly. Goddamn, adds a lot more kind of depth to the whole entire relationship than just, by the way, they're kind of just they're kind of cool. It's currently out, by the way. Just thought it's on Crunchyroll. But yeah, I mean, yeah, other than that, I like how also then it's juxtaposed with every single character in the show, because, again, it's very different for every single person in the show. Because, again, it's juxtaposed with Ogata and Yusaku quite a bit. The idea of actually how Yusaku could have been that character actually did, in theory, give back what Ogata lost. It does, in theory, seem as if he was trying to, because Yusaku was saying, look, you're not like that. There is good in you. You don't see it. But while Sugimoto kind of said, okay, look, yeah, that it does exist within me, it's there, I'm not going to hide it anymore, the kind of goodness in his heart, Ogata kind of tried to seal it away, because he kind of didn't really know how to kind of, like, handle emotions like that, and then actually it led to what happened with Yusaku in the end. So, will also being the idea that he can't understand how someone can live without actually, like, murdering someone in war. But yeah, I mean, to that end, it's very interesting. I like what this show does quite a bit, because it does a lot that's very different to your average kind of show, especially a show that takes place after a war as well, because it's very examining what it does to a person, and then how to regain what that person lost. It's very deep in that way, but it actually kind of adds a lot more meaningfulness to each person's relationship as well. That's the one thing the show also does really well. It kind of adds a lot more depth to each kind of character relationship as well. And I like how even the entire thing with Tanigaki and Sugimoto, that whole entire scene, it adds a lot more depth to them as well. It adds a lot more past to them as well. It actually adds a lot more idea that actually are very much more closer than your average kind of character. Because again, you kind of imagine these characters are very distant, because they don't come from the exact same place as each other. So in that way, it kind of immediately creates a sense of distance. But theoretically speaking, the situation they were in, and actually then how it impacted them, makes them closer in that kind of way. But but this episode's out. But yeah, to that end, it makes them closer as characters. I also kind of like the reaction that Tsukushima actually had to Svetlana's actual kind of like story as well. That whole entire like scene proves to you there and then like how he views the entire thing, and actually is kind of proof that actually again what situations do to people, and actually how it impacts them, actually then how they view others as well. I like it because again, it's one of those things that characters aren't necessarily just brick walls in this show. They're characters who experienced a lot. They're people that carry a lot of emotion. So things like this would impact them. Like, it's not as if they're just like, oh yeah, by the way, it's fine. Why do I care? No, it'll impact them. And I like how, again, this show isn't narratively driven. It's a situational development instead. It's much more these characters are impacted by what they see and what they experience, and actually that's what shapes them as people. And actually going forward, it actually then impacts how they then see certain other kind of relationships and actually then events as well. Again, it's really cool. I like it a lot. I thought this is what this show does really damn well. It's really, really interesting. But yeah, I mean, this is just the start of this whole entire idea. This show gets better and better as time goes on, especially with this whole entire idea. Because again, season 3, as I always said, is pretty much the pinnacle of actually how good this show can be. Though granted, it gets better after this whole entire point, but still, it's one of those things that season 3 really kind of proves this show is just brilliant in the kind of exploration of characters and their relationships, and also then the situations they've experienced. So yeah. That is me done for today. So as always, ご視聴ありがとうございます。僕の動画を面白いと思ったら、いいねやチャンネル登録をお願いします。So as always, if you actually have enjoyed this whole entire show I'm doing free, leave a like because indeed it's been quite a bit. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire show I'm doing free, leave a sub because indeed it's been quite a bit as well. If you have then enjoyed this whole entire show as a whole on YouTube I'm doing free, follow me on Twitter, or join Discord as well, because both of them are quite a lot, and both will then tell you when streams go live and any other streams I do as well. Until next time, some more Golden Kamuy, the 3rd season. See you guys later.